Hello everybody, it's Ron over here, Becoming Enlightened Together. Alright, so yesterday we did an entire rune reading for the entire week, and we saw that it was basically giving to us a tremendous amount of information in regards to what's going on within the lower vibrational plane of each and every one of our particular lives. In other words, the karmics in our life in particular. And it's not to say that some of us may not be going through some of these energies as well. Like I said, we all have, peaks and valleys that we go through. So it very, very much seemed to be pointing to what was going on in karmic. And again, that information is given to us not only so that we can prepare ourselves for the inevitable, being that they have made us their adversaries for whatever reasons, but also because they themselves are in a learning process, and many of them are really going through it right now. And our empathy is very much needed in this world in order to heal it. It seems more natural for us to want to fight fire with fire when they come at us. First thing we want to do is lash out back at them, right? Eye for an eye, whatever, Old Testament type of, endeavor. But, from the Newer Testament perspective, and from those from any other faiths, I might add that, we're supposed to counteract that type of energy with love, not the same type of negative, low vibrational energy they came at us with. And that's not to say there's not a time for us to do what we need to do or defend ourselves, whatever the case may be. Of course, if it comes to that, do so. Don't hesitate. You have that right. You do. We all do. But, for the most part, if it isn't a matter of life and death or what have you, or, potentially bodily harm to you or those you love, then do your best to meet that resistance with a higher plane of energy, the higher plane that we talk about in regards to love, And of course, Jesus said that you're not to forgive 7 times, but 7 times 70. That's 490 times, and it's for the very same offense. So even he put a cap on it. I mean, he did tell us, he didn't say infinitely, because then it becomes obvious it's abusive and the person has no intention of changing. But we are supposed to be exceptionally patient and kind with that energy and our ability to respond back. So that's what today's energy really is reflecting to us too. The heart of the tarot reading that we're doing today is the 8 of Swords. Now, the 8 of Swords speaks about feeling entrapped and hopeless. Maybe in a state of judgment and fear, feeling restrictions and confusions, fenced in, obstacles everywhere, feeling persecuted and trapped, perhaps, feeling a loss and lacking direction, feeling overwhelmed, being in a state of avoidance, and having a desperate need at this point for some form of clarity. Now, this is a air sign card, a Gemini card, okay, for those who care about the astrological significance of this. Now, as far as the overall summation of this reading, it's quite the opposite. It's not negative at all. It's extremely positive. And we're talking about the Wheel of Fortune. Now, the Wheel of Fortune, as you might imagine, is good fortune and luck, success, good karma, positive changes, gambling, destiny, turning point in our lives, movement forward, seeing opportunities, miracles happening and witnessing them, changes in our future, awareness, greater perspectives in things. And this is basically encompassing earth, air, water, and fire in terms of the energy that we're looking at. So all 4 elements. Very, very positive. And that's the overall, that we're looking at. So anywhere between the 8 of Swords to the Wheel of Fortune is basically the energy of this reading. So even though it starts off rocky, it looks very difficult, in some regards. It's also very positive as well as it evolves with time. Now, we're all going to be at different points in this energetic, field that we're looking at today. Some of us are already in the middle of this. Some of us have yet to step into it yet, and others have already gone through all of this. So it'll be different for everybody out there. Now, what we're going to look at next is basically the spiritual plane, earthly plane, and then the unconscious plane of reality and those forces which propel us internally or externally. And we're going to start with the spiritual plane, okay? And that's the forces that you may or may not believe in spiritually, your ancestors, the angels, source, God, whatever it is. Or you may just believe it into a psychological aspect, your own understanding of things propelling you forward in a direction. That's what this first line is all about. And we start that off with the 4 cups. Now you see that there's 3 cups there, but you're being offered that 4th cup from the Most High Himself. Now this talks about feeling at this point a sense of monotony, and you can see that by the young man sitting under the tree with his arms crossed and all of that. Being bored, missed a loss or a loss of focus perhaps, feeling depressed and stagnant, self-absorbed, apathetic, somebody who needs to go within, somebody withholding affection perhaps from somebody else, somebody that is ignoring their gifts, not giving affection, blessings, somebody who is losing interest in something or someone, basically just somebody who's completely disengaged, somebody who needs to go within and introspect. Okay, now this is a water card, and water, of course, basically denotes emotion. So this is a Cancer card specifically. So it could be somebody who's in that energy that we're talking about, with this you or somebody else in your energetic sphere, or somebody who's just embodying that energy. Now next up we have the 8 of Wands. Now the 8 of Wands is a fire card, Sagittarius, and this one basically talks about rapid movement, haste, quick, fast progress, quick growth, excitement, conclusions of something, making news, change, elements coming together finally, the grand finale, discovering and receiving important messages, learning something new, okay? And again, this is a Sagittarius card. So we're going from being apathetic to moving very rapidly, or there is a message coming to us very, very rapidly. And we see that echoed with the Page of Swords. Now, Page usually is somebody who's giving news of some type, and this is in the upright. Swords talk about air. Air is intellect. Okay, this is a Gemini card. So this talks about news and expecting. News and inspiration being delayed at this point, but it is coming, okay? It doesn't say that it's not coming. It says that it's just a little slower than we want it to be. It talks about pauses, preparation. Excuse me. Wow. It's really cold and windy outside right now where I'm at. So this is somebody who's very young, typically. It could mean something about education or ethical fairness is something. It talks about person's responsibilities and fairness. It talks about firm resolve, moving out of depression. It talks about having your chin up, facing the facts and your exposure, and having clarity. So the first one talks about needing and desiring clarity, and the last one in that particular line of the spiritual plane tells us that we need to be able to accept the clarity that we are given. Okay, and the 8 of Wands tells us that this information is coming quickly. Okay. Even though it's been delayed, it is coming. All right. Now, the next line of knowledge that we got is that of the earthly plane. And we start off with the best and brightest card in the deck, the Sun card. Now, the Sun talks about success and fun. It talks about positivity. It talks about health and good fortune and everything going well in our life. It talks about feeling enlightened. It talks about greatness, vitality, and truth. It talks about assurances, brilliance, glory, distinction, being the center of attention, being very enthusiastic, being invigorated, and feeling honored in some fashion. Now, again, this is a fire card, fire sign. This is a Leo card specifically, okay? All right, and that's a major arcana card, and we have yet another major arcana in that earthly plane, which is that of the Lovers, okay? Excuse me. Now, the Lovers card speaks about, balance and harmony in a relationship or a friendship of some kind, or possibly a partnership. It talks about love. It also talks about self-love, relationships and bonding. It talks about unions. It talks about attraction and establishing beliefs, something. It talks about philosophies and standards and so on. So, again, very, very positive sign we're looking at in the spiritual plane. So the spiritual plane, we're going through it. That's really what it's telling us. The earthly plane, it looks, at least for a number of you, you are really looking at some very, very positive, aspects to things. So, even though you feel that you're bound and all of that, you're really looking at some very positive attributes and aspects happening in your life, okay? All right. Now, finally, what we're looking at is the subconscious plane. Now, the subconscious plane basically is talking about, your dreams, secret desires, talks about your intuition and, inner wisdom, that kind of a thing. We start that one off with the Three of Pentacles. Now, Pentacles are typically materialistic. They are the earthly realm, the earthly sign. And this one is that of Capricorn specifically. Now, this talks about new skills or knowledge coming. Again, education, learning. We're seeing that a lot echoed in this reading. It talks about being prepared, teamwork. It talks about planning and competence. Coordination with others, talks about working together, cooperation, talks about organizing, basically meeting goals and overachieving for some of us, okay? So that's our subconscious. These are the things that are basically, again, in our dreams and secret desires, things that only you know about unless you've shared them with other people in your life. Now, next up is the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands talks about good news. It talks about exploration. Somebody who's young, that's charismatic, free, creative, and courageous. Somebody enthusiastic and confident. Somebody who's original, self-expression, finding solutions, a new direction, somebody who's exciting, somebody who's passionate, successful, and daring, and just like all wands, it's a fire card, so that this one too is a Sagittarius card. So we have a lot of Sagittarius, and we have some Leo in today's reading as well. So a lot of energy, a lot of passion. Now, we end that subconscious, with, of course, one of the best materialistic cards in the deck, which is the Ten of Pentacles. It's the most pentacles you can have. So it talks about how hard work pays off and you're rewarded success and stability, financial gain. It also talks about community and, affluence. Talks about permanence. Talks about security. I already said that. Talks about a foundational and orderly family. Talks about somebody who follows the rules. Somebody who's basically a very conservative in their nature. Okay, so in terms of the subconscious realm, what we want, of course, is what most people do want, and that's the stability in our lives. Financially stable, our family life is stable, our relationships are stable, etc., and so on. And this is our desire to manifest. And as long as you hold on to that and you are making moves in regards to that, you will eventually get exactly what you're looking for. And let's look now at the past, the present, and the future. Now, the past energy, we start off again with the Four of Cups. And again, somebody who's basically bored, feeling monotonous, depressed, stagnant. Somebody who's self-absorbed, apathetic. Somebody who needs to go within and do their reflection, okay? Somebody who's disengaged right now. And somebody's just losing interest, all right? That was the past energy, but that has changed when the sun came into our life, okay? Now, this talks about success, positivity, health, good fortune, everything going well, enlightenment, all of the positive traits, characteristics, attributes, materialistic things that a person could want, basically, can be embodied with the Sun card. It's the brightest card in the deck, okay? And again, it's a Leo card. Now, to finish off the past energy, we have the Three of Pentacles. And it talks about someone who's looking at or perhaps partaking in learning a new skill. Somebody who's getting a higher state of education or learning something new and mastering it. Somebody's being prepared, working with a team, planning, and working with others. Somebody also, it could mean, who's overachieving. Okay? So somebody is, in the past, and that could be right now in your present for some of you. Basically, you were bored out of your mind, and, you're basically not feeling any real passion. And all of a sudden, you've got this call to arms, so to speak, with the Sun card. And now you want to learn something new. You're taking action. You may even be going overboard with it. So let's look at our present energy. It starts off with the Eight of Wands. Something coming in very quickly. Rapid movement, fast progress, quick growth, excitement, and conclusions. Okay? But that is making us feel very anxious. In fact, we're feeling in some ways entrapped, hopeless, helpless, cornered, judged, and we're fearing, our current position or perhaps the direction that life is propelling us. We're feeling restricted and confused, fenced off. We're finding obstacles in our way, and so on and so forth. The peaks and the valleys we've talked about many times. But then comes this page of wands, this fiery guy or gal, basically with good news. Somebody who's young and charismatic, somebody who's free and creative, courageous, enthusiastic, and confident, and very passionate, exciting, successful, and daring. Okay? They're young, perhaps inexperienced, maybe even a little immature, but they have a way of looking at life right now as a child, and there's a lot to be said philosophically and dogmatically about having the eyes of a child, really. And when we become adults, of course, we lose that gift. We become just engrossed in the seriousness of just trying to survive in this chaotic world, okay? And this page is telling us to have eyes like a child again in order to get the things that we hope to discover, this positive energy and life that we all desire and want, okay? But we all have lessons to learn before we get there, okay? So we have to be patient as well, and that's what this is also showing us. It shows us a tremendous amount of positivity, and, with time, we are going to achieve our goals materialistically. We see that at the end of this future with, again, the Ten of Pentacles. But let's look at the beginning of a future. A future talks about, again, another page, which is basically somebody new, somebody young, somebody giving us, some form of news or inspiration. Um, but it's talking about how it's being delayed to some degree. Somebody who's in a state of preparation, learning something new. Education is a big part of this reading. It also talks about being responsible, somebody of firm resolve, moving forward or out of depression, somebody who's now putting their chin up, facing the facts, their exposure, and dealing with their situation in a clearer mind frame. And then we see that echoed and then possibly being rewarded with the Lover's card. Now, the Lovers is very, very positive. It's another major arcana card. And it talks about balance. It talks about harmony in partnerships. It talks about relationships, love affairs, passion. It talks about bonding, unions, empathy. It talks about closeness to somebody, feeling very passionate and attracted to somebody. Establishing beliefs, standards, philosophies. It talks about all these positive types of, feelings and so on that you not only have for yourself, but you're sharing with somebody who's significantly important in your life. And that's very, very positive. And finally, we close out, our future with the Ten of Pentacles. And again, there's only 10 pentacles that you're given. It's the maximum amount of pentacles you can have in the tarot. And basically talks about your hard work is paid off in the end. You're going to be successful, stable, financially independent. You're going to have a very rich family life, a very rich, relationship, whatever it is. You're going to have a solid foundation, all in all. A good, orderly family. You're going to be following the roles. You're going to be basically more of a conservative type of mindset. And that doesn't mean conservative versus liberal, if you will, in that perspective. We're not talking politics. We're just talking about overall having a sense of orderliness in your life being achieved and feeling the stability that we saw in the unconscious, that you truly desire. It says that you're going to find it. You're going to get there. So just stay positive. Don't give up. Now let's go ahead and look at, another piece of information we can get, which basically comes with the the diamond, the north, south, east, and west perspective of each of these lines that we just looked at. So we just looked at 7 pieces of information, and actually 8. We looked at the heart of the matter as well as the overall with the Wheel of Fortune. That's 2 right there. It gives us a whole area in between those energies of what this reading is all about, and we definitely saw that echoed today. And the other 6 basically deals with past, present, future, as well as the spiritual, earthly, and subconscious planes of existence. So we have 8 whole, levels of information that have been revealed today in this reading. Now the 9th one is in the shape of a diamond, which is the middle of each one of those 8 lines of information that we just got. And we start with the 8 of Wands. Something coming in very, very quickly. Now, what is that something that's coming in without haste? The Lovers. Major Arcana card, okay? That passionate, new friendship, partnership, or love affair, very passionate and very, very positive. Now, that's coming in upon, if you will, the introduction from this Page of Wands, this fiery, young, charismatic and free, creative and courageous personality, whoever it is, man or woman. Just a fiery individual who's very confident, original, self-expressive, somebody who's basically taking us perhaps on a new direction. Maybe it'll be a long-lasting love affair or friendship. It could also be a flame that's very, very passionate. Either way, it talks about it being very, very positive for both parties involved. And we see that echoed with the last card in the diamond, which in this case is the brightest card in the entire deck, the Sun card. So we're looking at success, positivity all around, health, good fortune, and everything going well. It doesn't get any more positive than that, collective. And if this is for the karmics as well, who are genuinely trying to make a change in their lives, again, this encourages you to keep on going in that direction, because there is light at the end of the tunnel, and it looks like it's going to be very profitable for all those, involved. Now, that doesn't mean that everything is going to go well for you between here and there, but it does say that things are happening, and they're going to be happening very, very quickly for a good portion of you anyways. Some of us, of course, especially if you are indeed within that karmic, mindset, or you have been for a number of years, it's going to take you a lot longer to get to that point. But it's telling you that that point is there for you, should you, accept this mission. It sounds like a, Mission Impossible kind of, thing or whatever, but it's anything but impossible. This mission you should accept, and it is very possible, and it has very positive outcome as a result of your efforts. But you do have to put the effort forward. And I'm going to leave you there with that, and I hope that you all take this energy and help it, or that it helps you, I should say, to propel you, to put that extra, surge of effort forward in your whatever it is that you're partaking in, whatever it is you're working on, or whatever it is that drives you, whatever passion that it is that drives you. And of course, as always, I wish you all the utmost victory, and someday in the future, we will all meet to do that final battle in Valhalla. Till then, take care. God bless.